Okay, so welcome. I am really super excited about this particular class. Open houses are my favorite. I started my business when I was my first year in business. I was dedicated to hosting open houses, and it was every weekend. And if I missed a day, then I would try to make it up. I experimented with like, okay, what would happen if I did it during the week or after school or in the evenings? Um, and it's just about consistency. I also learned about, location was big. Also, like, mm, what kind of house are you hosting? Like, what's the condition of the home? Um, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be really appealing or like in a great location so people see the signs and go from there. But if you have zero people in your database, this is a fantastic way to like get people who are ready, willing, and able most of the time. These are the people, if they're coming to an open house, either they're neighbors, they're curious, or they are thinking about, selling and wants to see the competition, or someone driving by with open house signs. Um, yeah, so it's pretty amazing. And it's one of the most organic ways to get leads. All right, so let's get right into it. Again, we've talked about this, just following TCPA guidelines, and commissions are negotiable. So I'm always just going to cover this. If you're using AI for any marketing, just make sure that it's accurate and make sure what is the source of the information. If you were in college, English, or like even in high school, they always talk about textual evidence. So know where the source is. I think that's super important. All right, so we're going to get right into it. Um, Here we are. Hold on, I'm letting some people into our Zoom. Okay, welcome everyone. So we're going to get right into it. So yesterday we talked about growing your database, and we discussed ways of doing that. And you may notice if you've been with us from the very beginning that we are just like I'm giving you guys like bite-sized pieces, because if I'm giving you like having you drink from a fire hose, you have enough that you're learning along the way. The big thing is I want to make sure that when you leave today and after every session, you're taking action steps. What is the one actionable item that you will take moving forward? You're going to be learning a lot, but I don't want you to be addicted to learning, because oftentimes we can be like, oh my gosh, here's the next best thing. Let's learn. In your notes, if you have a pen and paper, as we move along in this course, I'd like you to think about a couple of things, some ahas, because I do want you to like, oh, wow, like I didn't think of that. I would like participation there. Because what changed in your thinking? Remember, real estate is a mindset game, truly. It starts there, and everything else can be learned. But mindset is something that you deeply have control over. So I want to know, like, how did your mindset shift? Or, that got me thinking. Or, ooh, that's a great idea. Wonderful. I want you to just like bullet point those things, and then of those things that you've learned, what will be your actionable item? So by the end of today, when we're done with our course and we have Bill come in and talk to us after we go through this, what is the action step that you will take moving forward? If you do open houses, wow, what's new information that you'll be taking moving forward? So yeah, I'm super excited for you guys to learn something new. Okay, so today's agenda, we're going to talk about capturing leads with open houses, best practices, prepare, prospect, and pursue. We'll do recaps and ahas, and then we'll end with our daily success system. So for those of you who are consistently here with Ignite or not, like This is just checking in. What's your daily activity? Are you doing your lead gen? All right, here we go. Okay, so can I have someone from Zoom read this quote for me, please?
Nothing else about your business will have a bit as big an impact on it as the number of leads you have.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What does that mean to you guys? Nothing else about your business will have as big an impact on it as the number of leads you have.
You can't do business without clients.
Exactly. Yes, you can't do business without clients. And remember, we talked about like by the end of Ignite, you should have at least 200 contacts in your database. So you should be adding about 10 each day. And we have 20 sessions, and we've been doing 4 sessions a week plus an enrichment. So totally, I really want you guys to just look at that and like, okay, where are we at with that? And this open houses is part of your job as well. This is to make contact, connect, and then capture the lead or capture that information. And then that way, remember, we talked about nurturing those contacts and staying top of mind. Okay, so we're going to dispel limiting beliefs here. I don't have a listing to hold open, right? If you're brand new, you're like, oh, what do? I don't have any listings. Or I don't have signs yet. Or I may not know the answers to the questions that visitors have. Or open houses really don't work because most people look online. Or I won't feel safe. So we're definitely going to address all of these things. So let's hold on a second. I'm like managing 2 computers. Here we go. Okay, so let's address the first one. I don't have a listing to hold open. Does anyone have any ideas on what we could do to potentially get listings to host an open house with?
Post in the KWAG Facebook forum asking.
Yes. If you're not on the Facebook forum, highly recommend that you you join. If you're not, please let myself or Coco know, and we'll get you access to that. But that's a great way, great opportunity to be like, hey, anybody in KWAG, do you guys need any open houses hosted? Heck yeah, we have like lots of people, top producers, people with listings that maybe open houses isn't their thing, and they're like, yes, please host it open. They'll help you with some of the advertising. They'll put it on the MLS. So yes, yes, yes. Or you can totally go on the MLS and take a look at listings for Keller Williams licensees, right? For the brokerage. And if you want to get strategic and be like, okay, well, I want to look at certain areas or a certain, because maybe you want to hyper focus in a certain city or a particular neighborhood, you can get really hyper focused there. But you have opportunities to hold listings open. New construction, great opportunity there. Like it's vacant, it's beautiful. There's more inventory. If they don't like what they see, hey, you can help them with other things, right? What about I don't have signs yet? I want you guys to participate and tell me, where can we get signs?
I just came to you.
Yeah, exactly. So Stephanie, absolutely right. She just came to me and like, hey, do you have signs? Like if you're brand new, you won't have signs. And so oftentimes like within our brokerage, we have signs that we can lend out. Or if you're hosting an open house for another listing licensee, ask them, see if you can borrow signs from them.
Builders for new construction
Oh.
tend to have them too.
Yes, exactly. Like builders for new construction, some of them, not all, will have open house signs. I know Stephanie had approached a builder um, in the ranch subdivision, and they were able to provide signs. Liz Steele, actually, she's fantastic. She's doing a great job at making it easy for agents to host open houses. Okay, so then I may not know the answers to questions visitors have. Any thoughts on that? Anybody on Zoom?
You can once you have a place, you can research. And if you have any other questions, just ask the listing agent. They usually know, or they'll give you more. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. So you know what? We don't have to have the answers to all the questions. Even someone who's seasoned like me, if I'm like, you know what, that's a really great question. Let me think on that and do a little bit of research and get back to you. What's a good number that I can reach you at? That's a great opportunity to capture their information. If they haven't signed in and left their contact info, that's an opportunity to connect and be like, you know what? I don't know, and I'm happy to help get the answer for you. Don't be like the Walmart associate who you're like, excuse me, where is this? And they're like, I don't know. And then they walk away. Not all of them. If you guys have worked in Walmart, no, I have had very helpful people. But that's just a loose example of like, um, you are you are there to stay curious, ask questions, and help be a resource to them. Okay. Open houses don't really work because most people look online. What, how would you challenge that objection, like that mindset?
A lot of people aren't gonna buy a house without going to it first. I
Exactly.
mean, they'll look online, but they wanna see it in person.
Yes, precisely. So for those of you that didn't hear, like most people will want to take a look at the house. Excuse me, they'll see it online, but people get excited about open houses because they don't have to, I don't want to say they don't have to drag their realtor with them, but they don't have to call anybody. They can just go on their own time and walk through the house and be able to touch, feel, and see. So, yes. And then lastly, I won't be safe. What are thoughts on that? How can we counter that mindset shift? What can we do?
You know, i- you can, if you feel uncomfortable in a certain area, just don't pick those up. And ultimately, you know, making sure that you have a contact or person known is always a smart idea as well, if you
Mhm.
feel uncomfortable.
Right.
I have, two lenders that are actually gonna come sit with me at
Yay.
each house, so I mean, bringing a lender with you, so you have someone there. Or if you get in an uncomfortable situation or feel unsafe, lock the house up and leave.
Yes, precisely. Yes, yes, yes. And this is coming from Stephanie, who is brand spanking new. I don't even think you've hosted your own open house yet.
No, this
No.
becomes the first.
Yay. So yes, so she said basically, have somebody else there. She's gonna be hosting her first solo open houses this weekend. She'll have lenders, and then she'll also, like, if you don't feel safe, lock up the house and leave. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your safety is first and foremost. And we'll be touching on that. I have some safety tips that I'll share with you. But you can always make arrangements to buddy up, like with another Ignite participant or anyone else that you'd like to buddy up with. Like, hey, let's tag team this open house together. Um, why? Like, it would be great. What happens if you get multiple groups in? And Jeremy can attest to this. Like he jumped into the pool both feet first, big cannonball. One of his first open houses was during like the Parade of Homes. Can you imagine? He had like a ton of people coming through and he tag team it teamed it with Zoe. And so when you have multiple people, like he's talking to someone upstairs, or maybe she's talking to someone downstairs, but it's like divide and conquer. But even if you don't have a lot of people come through and you do the buddy system, well, what if, and this is what I did when I did open houses early in my career, I would buddy up with someone, and we were both in Ignite, and we would go door knock, and we would door knock a neighborhood, and he would take one side of the street, I would take the other side of the street, and we'd go house by house. We had visual on one another, right? Because I'm a woman walking around a neighborhood by myself, handing out flyers, knocking on people's doors. Um, but he was there to have like visual on me. And then we're like, okay, here's our goal. We made it a little bit of competition, like to be able to hand out flyers and invite people to the open house. So it's just creating a buddy system is helpful, and then just holding each other accountable. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. Also, let me just touch base on some things. So, do you feel that every house should be held open? Like every house should be have an open house? And under what circumstances would you not recommend hosting an open house? What are your thoughts on that?
If the house is in
Not
the middle of nowhere,
Yeah, it could be. If the house is in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, like if it's like a remote property, yeah, I would probably say no unless you know that you can direct traffic there. Yeah. Anybody else?
if the house is in some sort of disrepair or, you know, could pose danger to client or, there's some foreclosures that need some help and, when it comes to safety and whatnot of not just the open house people, but the prospective clients, you don't want to bring them into a dangerous situation.
Correct. Yes, you're absolutely right. There are some foreclosures where you have to sign a waiver before you actually go and walk in the door. And I've seen foreclosures opened. Oftentimes foreclosures won't have power. So you won't have you won't have lights, you won't have heat. And for some reason, foreclosure homes are colder inside than they are outside. So it's an interesting phenomenon. You're like, oh my gosh, we are freezing. But yeah, those are ones. Or sometimes there are sellers who specifically don't want open houses, and we want to respect that, right? Also, if a property isn't in showing condition, if it's like major clutter or maybe, yeah, just part of my advice is go preview a home before you agree to host the open house. Does that make sense? So if it's a house that's lived in, um, say, wonderful, I'd love to be able to go preview it and just take a look and just know where it's located, look at the condition. Unfortunately, we don't have technology that allows smell-o-vision. So if you go to a house, it's good to smell, like what are the smells that are being emanated from the house? Look at the condition, just what's the vibe? Is this something that you want to host open, that you can market? So just something to think about. Okay. So we know that the goal of open houses, there are two goals. The goal is to sell the house and also to generate leads. And so with open houses, who benefits? Who benefits from open houses?
All of the above.
All of the above, yeah. Yes, sellers, the buyers, neighbors, and us, the agents. Okay, so the sellers benefit because we are showing the house for a lot of potential buyers. So it's high exposure. Benefits buyers to see a house without obligation. Like they don't have to sign paperwork to go see it. It's open. Hey, welcome, come on in. Sometimes they get free cookies and water or something. Neighbors benefit because then they can check out what the competition is, or maybe this particular house has an updated kitchen. Maybe they can get ideas on like upgrades that they'd like to do in their home. It gives them an idea of condition, right? It benefits us because we can capture leads or clients, other sellers or potential future buyers or sellers, right? And then it also benefits you because you get to connect with the neighborhood, right? All right, let's take a look. Okay, so we talked about who benefits, and then let's talk about the benefits, the actual benefits of an open house. From the very beginning, I said it's like organic, it's free, almost basically free, it's inexpensive. Like you're probably spending money on printing out flyers. Nowadays we can use like social media to work on your behalf, but basically it's really, really inexpensive to host. But it also requires time. It's an investment of time, but also it takes some careful preparation and planning. It's not just put an open house sign at the corner and then all of a sudden be like, all right, I'm done. People are gonna come. That's one way to do it, but the purpose of this class is to help you maximize like the amount of people that could come to an open house. It's also a very useful prospecting tool for lead generation. So remember we talked about prospecting and marketing, two different things. So with prospecting, you'll be able to meet buyers, sellers, and other agents. So oftentimes we'll have like agents come with their, and I'm calling them agents here in Alaska. We know that they're called real estate licensees, but other licensees will come to the open house, sometimes with their clients, or sometimes they'll go because they want to preview inventory, which, psst, hint, you guys should totally be doing. If you're not hosting open houses or you see there's an open house somewhere, like pull over and go check it out. Like that's a great way to be like, okay, I'm up to date on what inventory is out there, and that way you can speak in an educated way to your clients about, oh, I previewed this home and I think this one might be a good fit. Wouldn't that be great to be able to come from that point of contribution? Okay, so going back to the prospecting, it's a prospecting tool because what are some activities that we can do to prospect? If you're not just sitting in the house, what else can you do to prospect the neighborhood? Anybody?
Door knock.
Heck yeah, door knocking. Door knocking is like you are there to invite them to stay curious, to connect. It's an excellent way to prospect. All right. And then it's a high ROI. What does that mean to you guys?
It's a high return of investment because putting in 3 to 4 hours at an open house, you get in, especially with a sign-in sheet and door knocking, you get to put yourself in front of people in an inexpensive manner to help capture more leads.
Absolutely, yes. And think about it. Like you guys should start to like really calculate the amount of time that you you output, and then when you do get a lead and you go close that and it came from an open house, like log the time. There are some open houses where you're going to be like, well, nobody showed up. But if you stay consistent, and you advertise, you have to think about, did you do all the steps to be able to bring people to the open house? And then lastly, another benefit is you get to qualify leads as you meet people who are walking in, like, oh, having conversations with them, finding out what are their real estate goals. Remember, we talked about in earlier sessions about staying curious and asking questions. Like that is your mantra. I'm curious and I'm going to continue to ask questions. We want to stay curious about the people who are like right in front of us. And like, okay, if they're curious about the real estate market, oh, that's a great question. You know, if they're like, hey, tell me about the real estate market, your response should be, why do you ask? Instead of, oh, well, the real estate market is wonderful and or it's really slow right now. Like, ask them, why do you ask? Find out what the motivation is behind that, stay curious, and continue asking questions. And then that way you're like engaging them. I think it's wonderful. Anyway. Okay, any ahas, any thoughts right now regarding anything we covered so far? At least one aha, or you guys knew this already? Okay, we'll keep going. All right, we're going to go into best practices. Okay. Okay, so remember when we covered, last week we covered the 6 personal perspectives, and we talked about specifically moving from E to P, and that's with everything that you do. It's essential to be purposeful in your mindset and actions. So with open houses, think about how you go from E to P, and you're breaking through any ceilings or any mindset ceilings. Like you have to pre-plan. So for instance, if you're going to be hosting an open house on Saturday, you should already be planning by that Monday or Tuesday. By Tuesday, you should already have your open house picked out. So it's important to set goals that are achievable and it'll require some work, right? But you need to set goals on like, okay, what is my goal for having the most amazing and productive open house? Have a plan and stick to it. So we'll talk about some of these things. You also have to think about picking the house. That matters. If you're picking an open house that requires like so many turns off of the main road, and you don't have enough open house signs, that could be a problem. Like you won't get a lot of people coming in because you don't have, number one, don't have enough signs. And it's just essential to pick a house that has high visibility. Maybe is appealing, maybe it's brand new to the market, maybe it's new construction, people are curious about it. So you just have to pick the house and get familiar with the neighborhood enough so that you are doing your research about the market. What are the numbers? What are other homes priced at? Are there any other open houses in the area? These are things to think about. Think about the price bracket that you are choosing. That's important too. We've talked about like price brackets. Remember when we went over the total market overview and we have different price brackets and we can see, oh, is this a seller's market? Is this a buyer's market? Like what, is there a lot of inventory or is there very little inventory? is this going to appeal to buyers? Or is this the competition to other sellers, right? And so I can say that sometimes new construction is the competition to other homes in the neighborhood. Just knowing the market, like, okay, fantastic. If you're hosting a property like in a new construction neighborhood, what are other homes that are similar to it that are already established, that have an established yard? Just know what the competition is around it. So it sounds like a lot, but I think it's important that you do your research as you prepare for your open house. Know what like the closest shopping centers are, grocery stores, coffee shops. Get to know the area. If you live in the area, that's great. If you don't, just do research. Are there trailheads? Like especially like in Anchorage, like if you're hosting an open house and like right around the corner is like a trailhead, and that could be really appealing to some buyers. Or like, hey, we are really close to the medical district. Um, that'd be good for you to know to be able to relay that to potential buyers. Okay. Okay, so prepare and practice. So consider inviting a speaker such as an inspector or a lender. This is a fantastic idea. Like, I don't see many people doing this. Um, Although I've seen kind of an uptick of lenders coming in to sit at an open house with you. Well, what if you advertise the open house and also offer like some education? Like, hey, we're hosting this open house and swing by, take a look at this home. And there happens to be a lender here who's going to be talking about the benefits of VA loans. Oh my gosh, you're advertising two things at once. You might want to tag team that open house, or the lender's busy talking and teaching that. And as people come in, if they're looking around the house, you're talking and engaging them. That's an opportunity. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it, you know,
Mhm.
and it's always nice to have a friend because I've definitely had those open houses that get very busy and you have to prioritize clients, and having somebody else to chat and answer questions that you don't have the expertise for is great, because a lot of people do ask what the cost to close and stuff like that is. And you can always get a lender to print you out a sheet, but it's better to have somebody speak.
Exactly. And then one thing, if you do team up with a lender, um, make sure that you set expectations. If you're brand new, you might not know what to expect. And sometimes lenders have depends on who you have to meet with you at the open house. Some lenders have a great way of breaking the ice. You know, if you're busy, like trying to connect with someone, they may be able to have a conversation with someone else at the open house. So that's helpful. But also like set the expectation that um, you are the primary, they're secondary. So they should be like trying to help capture information to help you, the agent, right? They're there to capture leads as well because they want to be able to offer loan products. Another thing I think it's also important is prepare a list of questions that you may be asked, when you host an open house. Like, for instance, like potential clients may ask, why is the house for sale? Or when was the house last renovated? Or if the home has any structural issues, and how long has the house been on the market? Inevitably, I always have people come in and ask me, oh, what's the square footage? How large is the lot? Like, prepare yourself for potential questions. And if you're not sure, it's okay to not know and say, you know, that's a great question. Let me do a little research and I'll get back to you.
May I also
Yeah.
say that with new construction, um, asking what allowances they may allot, because a lot of them maybe don't do landscaping or fencing, but they do allowances or allowances on appliances, especially if they're doing an energy rebate, stuff like that. Making sure you know the answers to that.
Yes, absolutely. It's good to know, yes. And to Jeremy's point, if you're hosting an open house for like new construction, if you're not familiar with the new construction process, it'd be good to educate yourself on what does that process look like, and also like, are there any incentives or incentives that builders are offering? And then we also want to be careful about like talking about rebates or energy. That's as long as there's money in the pot to be able to offer that rebate. But we just say, you know, there's a potential for this, right? What else was I going to say? I was also going to say that it's helpful when you're hosting an open house to give them a rundown. Like, welcome. And I always shake hands with people like, hi, my name is Sharon. What's your name? And then even the kids, I'm like, hey, what's your name, buddy? I like to welcome everyone. Imagine that you're welcoming them into your home. Or imagine like if you're very casual about people coming over, I want you to think a different level of service, like Nordstrom service, or think about like high-end luxury service. Think about being nurturing. Um, how would you make people feel welcome? Hi, smile and make eye contact. And hi, how are you? My name is Sharon. Be confident. Um, Shake hands if you're comfortable with that. Um, Ask them their name. And the more you are curious about them, and put them at ease without like, okay, I'm gonna inundate you with all of these questions and stuff, like there's emotional intelligence that's involved. How would you welcome someone into your home? Hi, welcome. Come on in. Great. Oh, so are you guys neighbors? Do you live in the neighborhood? That's one of my first questions. And they're usually like, oh no, we're just driving by. Oh, how'd you see the open house? Oh, we saw it online and we decided to swing by. Wonderful. And so, so this is kind of like part of your practice. We're going to talk about some scripts that you can use, conversation starters. But part of your job prior to an open house is to practice scripts. And for those of you that are in Ignite, you know, from start to finish, you have an accountability partner. So this is your opportunity to practice script practice with them, like, hey, or role play. You don't have to like read the script word for word, but can you role play like going through an open house, having a conversation? I think that's important. All right. We also want to practice, like, know what are good practices, you know, for when people come to an open house. Um, so we talked about, you know, potentially bringing someone to sit at the open house with you. During an open house, you can have visitors sign in, you know, once prior to the event or upon arrival of the open house. You definitely want them to sign in. Hey, you direct them to do what you expect of them. If you never ask, they won't know what you expect. So directing them, welcome to the open house. Can I have you come here and sign in? We're having everyone sign into the open house. Wonderful. And then have them do that. Some people will make this a requirement. stating that it's a safety measure. If that's how you would like to present it, you're very welcome to do that. And then also you can even ask them to leave something of value with you while you tour the home. I've never done that. I think it's just important to give them space, and we prep our sellers to put away anything that's valuable, and we'll get to that soon. And then also it's just important to set up like a sign-in station to allow you to capture those leads. Sometimes it's strategic on where you have it. Oftentimes I'll have it in the kitchen, or just depends on where they're walking in. I'll have them sign in right away. But I think there's an art to having a conversation and directing them to what it is that you'd like them to do. So it's important, if you have an accountability partner, to practice these types of conversations. Once you've captured their contact information, you'll have plenty of opportunity to be able to stay in touch and communicate with them once they're in your database. Also then picking a time. So best practices is picking a time and maybe a theme. So are you going to do like Thursday night happy hour, or wine and cheese open house, or a Sunday afternoon? Like pick a time and potentially a theme. I've done Super Bowl open houses. That got me one of my bigger listings from door knocking and inviting people to an open house during the Super Bowl. Let's see, not that I had a lot of people, but the door knocking was very fruitful. Some people will do Halloween open houses, or they will do like progressive dinner open houses. So if they team up with other realtors who are hosting open houses in the area, they'll be like, hey, if you visit these 4 open houses, you'll be entered for a chance to win XYZ, right? And that prize could be sponsored by an affiliate, by a lender, by a home inspector, by title company. So you have options. Also, part of it is preparing your stats. Remember, we talked about knowing the market. So we covered that last week. Looking at the statistics, we can go from the macro level, national level, to Alaska, which is micro. We can even go smaller. We can go from Alaska to maybe Wasilla. We can go even smaller than that, from Wasilla to the ranch subdivision, right? So from macro to micro, Wasilla or all of the valley, the Matanuska Valley, versus specifically, a particular neighborhood. What homes have sold recently? What percentage of the sales price, list to sales price was it? Like knowing your stats, knowing what other homes are selling for, what's the competition to that home in the surrounding area. Also looking at what's currently pending. What's the competition right now? What are people making offers on? So just being aware of what's out there, I think is very, very helpful. You can also do research about the neighborhood before hosting, local information, or like by school district. You can look at like local recreation, traffic and commute times. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I'd love to be able to take a look at, what is, if you want to be able to take a look at like the commute time, for instance, like, oh, this is maybe a 30-minute drive to J-Bear, or this is an easy commute location. That's something to definitely look at. Okay, and then other best practices for open houses, we want to look at safety. Like, how are we going to prepare for safety? It's totally your top priority. And my goal for you is to be able to educate you on this so that when you're hosting an open house, you know that you are not obligated to like stay in the house if you do not feel safe, period. We talked about being able to have the buddy system, um, arriving early. Like, don't show up at like, if you have a open house from like 1 to 4, don't show up at 1 o'clock and walk in with other people who may be potentially walking in with you while you set up. Try to arrive at least 30 minutes early. Park on the street if you can. That way you're not blocked in. If you can't park on the street, oftentimes I'll pull up and I'll park in the RV pad with my car facing out. But most times if I can, I will park on the street. Check all entrances and exits. So when you get to the house, like make sure to do a walkthrough of the house, making sure it's vacant, number one. Check the windows and doors, making sure like everything is locked up except the front door. You only want to give people an opportunity to come in one way. And then make sure your cell phone is fully charged. Turn on all of the lights. So, and then check, this was written during COVID. We don't have to worry about COVID guidelines right now. And then let me see. Let me just pull a couple other things for you guys. Okay, so also part of this, I'm going to go back to the cell phone portion. It's also important to have like your emergency contact or your person, whoever that may be. So have them like check in on you periodically. Like if they happen to swing by to bring you a coffee, that's great. Or if you choose to be prepared and have like a safe word or whatever, you're going to call somebody in case you feel uncomfortable, then have that person on speed dial. You also have the ability in, let me take a look. You have the ability in Central Law to be able to, there's a safety feature. Let me take a look real quick. There's a safety feature where you can actually, you can indicate when you need like your emergency contact called, and it will do that. I'll be sure to like list that information out for you guys. I'll send it out, but yeah, it's super important that you just be situationally aware. When people are coming into an open house, you can stand in the kitchen. If people are going to go upstairs and take a look at the home, allow them to walk up the stairs first. You're not leading them into rooms. This is also when you're showing homes, and you're in a home, allowing people to walk upstairs first and you're walking behind them. If people are walking into a bedroom or into a bathroom, you can stand in the hallway, or you can stand at the top of the stairs as they look into the bedrooms, and you can talk to them from there. Don't follow them into a bedroom, don't follow them into a bathroom, unless you absolutely like feel comfortable with them, but position yourself in a place like in a doorway, someplace where you can step away. There are some people who do self-defense. I know we've done some safety briefings and we've offered some self-defense classes. We'll look into that as well coming up, to have somebody come in and teach us some self-defense moves. If you feel comfortable having like pepper spray or having a taser or having something on you, as long as you feel comfortable using it, then you do you. The only thing I will say is just make sure that you are positioning yourself so it's not taken away from you and being used against you. So having just some training or some knowledge behind that is important. If you're ever in a situation where you're like your spidey senses are are pinging and you just don't feel okay, whether it's a showing or an open house, you can even pretend you're on a phone call. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Yep, okay, you're on your way. Wonderful, thank you. I've used this method before where I'm like, I didn't feel comfortable going into a house with someone. It was a foreclosure. I had the ick feeling. I took a photo of their license plate. I was outside with them. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so sorry. I have something that is coming up. My husband's on his way right now, and I'm on the phone with my broker because I couldn't get a hold of my husband at the moment. And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable in this situation. I just sent you a picture of this person's license plate. And anyway, I was just talking to him like it was an emergency and saying, and you could have like code words with people. Like if you have your person and say, hey, can you get the red folder? Like find a code word or coconut, whatever. Can you give me the coconut juice? You know, figure out what your code word is with your person. So they know that, hey, I'm not okay, I need help. So just have a plan before you put yourself in that position. Does that make sense? Does anyone have anything to add to that or any comments or thoughts regarding safety?
One thing that I do too is, I invite family and friends,
Mhm.
and they're not necessarily looking, but they're coming by and, knowing a familiar face, and they won't interrupt you working. They'll, a lot of them just act like clients, and you have somebody there already, is what I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely. You should totally and part of your lead gen is inviting, clients that you're currently working with. Have them come in and take a look. Maybe they know someone who is interested in the home. Like your job is to definitely prospect and market this home for sale. So yeah, wonderful, absolutely. And I know my husband would always just swing by, just like, hey, how are things going? Like, check in periodically. Like, I would need to text periodically to make sure, like, hey, I'm good. All is good. All is good. Like, he just wanted to make sure that I was okay. All right. So then we're going to just cover here prepare, prospect, pursue. The difference between big and really big is how you manage your time and focus. So we want to do things at a really high level because you'll get a high return back. Super, super important, guys. Hi, Bill.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so glad to have you here.
Well, this is fun to be here.
Hey, good. I'm
You're
glad.
doing a great job.
Thank you. We're going to keep going. We're going to wrap this up and then Bill is going to take over and give you guys all like the tips and tricks and his um what am I trying to say? I'm like his Jedi
My
ways.
superpowers.
Yes, his superpowers, but he's got Jedi tricks up his sleeve, so I'm super excited for him to share with you. Okay, so let's cover prepare, prospect, and pursue. All right, here we go. So preparing. This is like the most important work prior to an open house. So most of the work for the open house is done before the day of the open house. It's actually done almost a week ahead of time. So you prepare your mindset. For those of you that coach with me, you all know this very well. Some of you, if you haven't experienced this with me, this is how I prep my PC people and say, okay, great. You're having an open house, right? And they're like, yep. I'm like, wonderful. how many people are going to show up at your open house? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, pick a number. And they'll say 5. This actually happened. I did this with Kelly Ramirez. And she's like, okay, 5. I'm like, great. Are you going door knocking? She's like, yes. I'm like, good answer. And then so she went door knocking, and I said, okay, of the door knocking, like, how many people are you going to actually connect with? And how many doors are you going to knock? She's like, I'll knock 20 doors. And I said, okay, how many people are you actually going to connect with? She's like, 4. I'm like, okay, great, 4. And then of the open house, how many appointments are you going to get? So you've connected with 4 people from door knocking, 5 people came to your open house. How many appointments are you going to get? And she's like, 1. I'm like, wonderful, great. So let's close your eyes. And I want you guys to do this right now. Close your eyes. If it's safe to do so. If you're driving, please don't close your eyes. So go ahead and close your eyes. Plant your feet on the ground. And take a deep inhale in. Exhale out. Do that one more time. Take a deep inhale in, coming into your body. Exhale completely out. Coming into your body, allowing yourself to be in a relaxed state, being here, right now. We're going to set aside anything that doesn't apply to us right now. I just invite you to be in your body right now. And I want you to envision that you've pulled up to your open house. You parked. You're stepping outside. You have flyers in your hand, getting ready to door knock. And you are so excited, nervous and excited. Whatever feelings come up, feel that right now. And with those flyers, you're walking around the neighborhood. And you're looking at people's faces. They're so happy that you knocked and that you get to connect with them. How does that make you feel? They're welcoming, they're open. I want you to see their faces when they open the door and you're telling them about the open house. Maybe you're asking them questions about the neighborhood. How does that make you feel to be able to connect with these folks? And then from here, you're hosting your open house and you have people coming in and you're trying to keep up with everyone who's come in. And you feel super excited to have met all 5 people that came to your open house. And guess what? Someone set an appointment with you and they're so excited. And you've set the appointment on your calendar and you're ready for those next few steps. Take a deep inhale in, exhale, and begin to blink your eyes open. So we're taking that opportunity to come into our body. I think I lost these people. Oh my gosh. Did we lose a connection? So I will say this. What happened to my computer? This activity actually will take you into a state of relaxation. It takes 16 seconds of visualization to imagine and create reality. So it takes feeling, visualizing, and a relaxed mind-body state. I have to figure out what happened to our computer. This is not good.
I can see everything on
I
my
have no
end.
control. What is wrong with me? Escape. Escape. Isn't that weird?
Oh,
I've never seen that.
Sharon, we can see everything still.
I can't get out.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
I got you now.
Okay, perfect. Oh, I didn't know. Sorry, guys. The computer here at the office totally froze. So I don't know. Did you guys hear the very end? Did I tell you guys to open your eyes?
Yes.
Okay, great. Because what I'm seeing on my end is a frozen screen over here. So not exactly sure what happened, but we'll go with it. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad that this worked out okay. All right, thanks guys for hanging in there. So the whole idea here is that we're going to use visualization. I invite you to create your own reality by using visualization. The reason behind that, let me actually do this. Let me unblur. Okay, that way you can see Bill and I. So the whole idea behind having visualization moving forward is that it just creates your reality. It's something that you're like, I'm setting the intention, and there's something called intention mechanism. All right. Intention mechanism means you're setting the intention of what you choose to receive. You don't know how you're going to get there. You have an action plan, though, with open houses. We're going to do the action plan, and the people are going to show up. So I did this as a fun experiment with Kelly Ramirez, and when we met after her open house, I'm like, great, how many people stopped by? She's like, 5 people stopped by. I had hosted the same house weeks prior, had barely, maybe one person in 4 weeks show up. The day she shows up with the intention, she had 5 people show up. She door knocked, connected with 4 people, and did get one appointment. I was like, wow. Like, so that was fantastic. So we repeated that process week after week, and it was really great. She's like, I felt like my confidence came up, or like if you feel nervous, like you're like, oh my gosh, like this is outside of my comfort zone, then coming back into your body, because oftentimes we'll like come up into our headspace and think, oh my gosh, overthink things. And I invite you to just come back to your body, like go through all the 5 senses, like what is it that you're feeling? What can like mm, physically feeling? What can you smell? What can you see? Going through all of that, what are you sensing at the moment? And coming back into your body, grounding yourself. I've talked to Kelly about this, about like, okay, like imagine your ideal self walking up to a door to say hello. Like who is the ideal real estate agent that you're stepping into being? What is your beingness? Is it confidence? Is it what is that character trait that you'd like to become and step into that? Anyway, that's my like pep talk for you guys today. And let me go ahead and share my screen so we can keep going. So thanks for being willing to pivot with me, guys, because let's just keep going. And I have to, and I'll share my screen here in a moment. I've had to just pivot with computers. So let me get to where we need to be, and then we will segue into Bill. I'll introduce Bill, and we'll go from there. Okay, perfect. Yeah. No, here we go. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, you guys can see my screen? Okay, thanks for your patience. Truly, truly appreciate it. Okay, so we talked about preparing mindset, right? This is something I really want you guys to get good at. Like, envision success in your life. Step into the person that you choose to become. Be, do, have. Who are you being? What are you doing? What will you have? And imagine it as if it's already done. So if you're hosting open houses this weekend, how many people are coming in? Set that intention. State it out loud to someone. Have them be your witness. Okay? We're going to practice conversations. I will, for those of you who are not in the PC program, I actually, if you send me your email, shoot me a text. I will send you some scripts that I have that I received from a family reunion way back when, and I'd love to be able to share that with you. They're great conversation starters. And in fact, I'm going to hop out because I'd like to show you what I'm talking about. So I have something called open house resources that I will send to you. I have an open house planning worksheet, best practices, conversation starters and tips, a safety sheet, printable sign-in sheet for those of you that might want to get one made or started, or like if you don't have one, you're welcome to use mine. You can also create one in Canva, plus other resources. So some of the resources that I offer is uh, a link to YouTube that I used to learn door knocking communication. And one of the techniques is called carouseling. And you would, and so this YouTube, there's no video, it's just an interview with a large team. But I absolutely love the idea of carouseling. And what that means is you're door knocking, you're inviting them to the open house, maybe asking them questions about the neighborhood. But often people don't like to feel like you're putting all the attention on them. So you're deflecting. So knock, knock. Hi, I'd love to welcome you to this open house. I'm hosting over here as a neighbor. We would love your feedback. They recently updated the kitchen, and who knows, maybe you'd like to get some ideas on some of the upgrades that they've done in this home. Wonderful. And then you have a conversation with them. Oh, I had a question. This house across the street looks beautiful. Like, have they lived there very long? Or they have their lawn beautifully manicured. Do you know who their landscaper is? Like, you're deflecting from them and asking about the neighbors. Oh, have you lived here very long? Is this a very established neighborhood? Are we seeing a lot of homes for sale? So we're learning how to deflect the conversation and ask about other things. Script practice is important. You don't want to practice on people when they are at the open house. You truly want to be able to connect and already have an idea of what is it that you're going to say, what questions, stay curious. Ideally, you want to know, like, why are they there? What are they looking for? How can you be of service? What do you need to do to educate them or get them answers? Okay, and then a couple of resources, sign-in sheet. I have an attachment to it, but also with Command, you have the ability to generate a link for an electronic sign-in. And so I have a link here for you to be able to do that. And then let me just open up a couple of things. So all of these resources can be made available to you. We have an open house planning worksheet. Like here are some of the activities that you need to do to be able to prepare for an open house, starting Monday. Like select your open house for the following week. Tuesday, post it online. So it's giving you like step by step, what is it that you need to do moving forward? How are you going to be, I mean, like you guys are highly paid marketers, so how are you going to market this open house? Right? So it's going to give you all of those best practices. Here's like a success kit, setting the goal, picking the house, staging the house, making sure it's staged or offering some suggestions for that if it's your own listing. Otherwise, you're like relying on the listing licensee to be able to communicate that with their sellers. Prepare and practice scripts. Guys, I'm not making stuff up. It's here in writing. Prepare neighborhood stats. We talked about that. Knowing the neighborhood stats, knowing what other homes are being held open. Be that resource. Don't be afraid to have a list of it and say, oh, I'd love to be able to send you a list of other open houses in the area. What's a good number? You can text it to them or email it to them. We talked about safety. Here's some additional tips. And how are you going to stand out? We talked about hosting a guest speaker. Doesn't have to only be a lender. You can get creative here. And then, some other pro tips on what you can take with you. Take toilet paper. If you're hosting a open house and a new construction home, also finding out, do they want anybody using the restroom in a new construction home? Sometimes no. Maybe they have a porta john outside specifically for that reason. So finding out from like, especially in new construction, hey, is it okay if people use the restroom when they're here? Otherwise, do we need to redirect them? So uh, these are some things to know and things that you can bring with you. Sometimes having disinfecting wipes, having hand sanitizer, paper towels. I would also say don't bake cookies. Don't bake cookies. Don't you try to bake cookies yourself at an open house. Ask me how I know. I did this at a new construction home. I know. Hush. That was a long time ago. And the builder walked in and we set off the smoke detectors. And I was like, this is a hilarious story. But it happened. We were like, we wanted that fresh cookie smell in the house, but new ovens have these oils in the oven that need to be baked off. And this was 11 years ago, so trust me, I haven't done this recently, but I'm just telling on myself. I think sometimes you have some hilarious stories that come along and you're like, what the heck, just what did I do? And you learn from it, right? So anyway, I hope that put a smile on your face. Guided conversations for open houses. So this is some of the stuff that I was telling you about, like, hey, let me tell you about the house, or how did you find us today? How have you been, or have you been looking long? Where do you live now? Do you live in the neighborhood? So not that you have to ask them 20 questions, but this can be done organically along with Ford. We learned about Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dream. Like, how do you create icebreakers? It's not all about real estate. The idea is having a conversation like, what is the connecting conversation, and using your emotional intelligence to connect with the other human being. So these scripts are great to practice. Like, hey, is anyone helping you? Would you buy this house? And what does the house you'd buy have? Right? So here are some great questions to kind of understand their motivation. What are they looking for? How can you be of service? So I'll send this out to you guys so you can review open house tips about being prepared, having something of value. So additional tips, right? And then house safety tips. I had put this together with some information. In Central Lock, it offers the agent safety feature. So you open the app, you go to My Settings, and you switch on agent safety, and then you follow the prompts. Okay. If you're going to be using the restroom, lock the doors behind you. Like you can lock up. If you're going to be inaccessible and you don't want people walking in, lock the doors. Like if they're knocking and they're still standing at the door, it's okay. Your safety is more important, right? So, and then here's like an open house sign-in sheet that you're welcome to use. I learned something also recently that some people choose not to ask people who walk into an open house, choose not to ask them if they're working with another realtor. Because subconsciously, somehow that tells them, oh, should I have a realtor? Wait till you get to an appointment with them. I mean, eventually this will be discovered along in conversation, but you may notice that this sign-in sheet doesn't ask them if they're working with anyone. You, of course, want to know, so you respect any relationships, but there's a way to go around about that and ask if they've gone to see any other homes. That's an easier question. Have you looked at any other homes? And if they say yes, great. Did you visit open houses? Oh no, I have my realtor. Great. Then they've let you know. So there's ways to go about that. Here's preparing for an open house. And lets you know like what do you need to do 3 days prior, the day before an open house, and the day of. So some really helpful information for you guys, right? There's an open house playbook. So I want to just get you all of these resources and then we'll just actually segue over to Bill because he has some fantastic, I want you to hear straight from him what his resources are, like what is it that he learned along the way, some things that he's done that are very him that I'm like, you're brilliant. Like I was mind blown and some of the stuff that he shared with me. And then, yep. And then again, like I'm just throwing resources at you, but the idea is to pick something. Remember, we talked about the very beginning of this class, write down your ahas and what is your first action step? What is it that you're going to be doing moving forward? This is the podcast. This is a pretty old one, but I love the conversation regarding what they did regarding door knocking. Like they listed 1.4 million homes by door knocking. I thought that was pretty cool. But this was like that video I think is almost 9 or 10 years old. But the conversations are helpful. So I'm happy to get this over to you guys. Okay, let's keep going. I know I'm hopping, but I want to make sure to share resources with you all, and let you know, like, this is what we do to prepare. This is what we do moving forward. 1 week prior to the open house, we talked about this. Monday, select the open house. Tuesday, you're going to post online. Walk the neighborhood and invite neighbors. So if you're door knocking, one strategy that I did was host an open house in the same neighborhood week after week after week. Maybe week 1, I hit 20 homes on this one street. Week 2, I hopped over to the next road, hit the next 20. Week 3, or if you're door knocking starting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like the more effort, the more doors, the more people you get in front of. Remember, we talked about lead generation being a numbers game. We want to get in front of as many people as possible. Okay. Wednesday, you can post online. You can install yard signs. Oftentimes, I have found it helpful to put it up Friday before a Saturday. I don't know. How about you, Bill? Do you?
That's exactly what I do.
Oh, okay.
If I'm gonna do an open house Saturday, Sunday,
Mhm.
I'll put the sign up the night before
Yeah.
and I'll set it on Friday.
Mhm.
And the secret is to set a lot of signs.
Mhm.
You want to find every possible way into that open house, and you want to have signs directing them from every major intersection. I'm at a point now in my business where 50% of the people showing up are being driven by the signs alone,
Wonderful. That's great.
just by the signs, and the advertising does the rest of it.
Mhm.
Or people are looking where open houses are being held, and so
Right.
they'll see that and they're just randomly hitting them. But it's amazing how many people will see a sign, oh, we like looking at new houses, let's go look.
Yeah.
Let's go look.
Absolutely.
Everybody likes to look at that new flashy car.
Yes, exactly. And I think my concern with setting it out like on a Wednesday, people will start to forget it. So I want it to be like, oh, here's an open house sign Friday, and then they'll notice it. I don't know. Has that been your experience? Have you set it out prior to a Friday?
I have, in some cases, what I do is a little different in that most of what I'm doing is new construction.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I'm really looking for people to list with,
Mm-hmm.
list their house, or buy new construction or both.
Mm-hmm.
And in many cases, I ended up selling their house because they want to buy a new house.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up working maybe 25% buyers, 75% listings. But sometimes I will keep up the open house sign all week long. If it's new construction, I'll say open house Saturday, Sunday, and I'll say, and I'll say the times,
Mm-hmm.
because you just don't want to say open house. You want to tell them the times you're going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
That way they know what time to come and
Exactly.
or what time to get there before. And now here's the secret. This is one of my super secrets here. Never leave your open house at the time it's going to quit. Stay an extra half hour to hour, because it is amazing how much business has been closed after the open house because they just couldn't get there by the time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and that's more true as it gets into the spring and summer when our days are sunny.
Mhm.
This time of year when it gets dark, not as effective. But when we have our longer days, we hit March, February, or March, April,
Mhm.
do it. You will not be disappointed. You cannot put out too many signs.
Yeah.
Massive amounts of signs. Like I did an open house last weekend for Spinell Homes
Mhm.
and for Kevin Sigafoods. And I had 10 signs working, and it was new construction near the intersections of Diamond and Jewel Lake Road.
Mhm.
Well, that intersection gets so much traffic. I had 4 signs just working at the intersection. So any direction they were coming, there was a sign that was saying, in fact, this is the sign I used. This is the sign I used, new construction, Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 4 p.m.
Mm.
And
Nice.
and this is just a header that you put on top of the freestanding sign. So that works out really, really well. So now they know the time, they know the days, and I just keep my signs out, put them, set them Friday night, and I keep them out, and I pull them Sunday night.
Yeah.
After it's over.
That's wonderful. And then we'll keep going on this in a moment. Let's continue with this real quick. We're just about done. So, okay, so then we talked about when to like put those signs out. And door knocking, sometimes I'll door knock like a Friday because I don't want them to forget about the open house, or you could door knock again to circle back around. So just use this as a guideline and just see what works for you. I want to make sure that people remember, hey, there's an open house and don't forget to come. So you're going to be just continuing to post regularly, and you're going to also invite your database. That's really, really important. Like if you're like, well, but my database may not be looking for a home here, but maybe they know someone who does. So wouldn't that be a great opportunity to just pick up the phone, a reason to talk to your database about, hey, I'm hosting an open house. It's been a while since we've connected. I'd love for you to swing by and take a look and give me feedback. And hey, if you want to bring a friend or you know someone that's looking to buy, like bring them along, bring them with, right? Um, and then what clients like to know, community and neighborhood information, relocation information. Maybe visit go to the visitor center, someone who may be new to the valley or someone from wherever they're relocating, like wouldn't it be nice to have some information about the area? Maybe common interests if you like hiking trails, or here are some great restaurants, a list of great restaurants of the area. Like it would be nice for you to compile that information. So if you do have somebody that comes in that's from out of state, hey, I'm just in town, like looking for a few days or kind of scoping things out, or thinking about relocating from Anchorage to the valley, like wonderful. Wouldn't it be great if you had those resources that you could just pull out of a folder and be like, hey, I'd love to share this with you? Or if you have information for first-time homebuyer information, like if you had a little packet, or like, hey, top things that you need to know about, how you can leverage other people's money for your down payment or whatever. Like if you have something of value to give, you don't have to be the one gathering all of that information and creating it yourself, is what I mean. You can leverage lenders. Like, hey, are there any like first time home buyer information that I could share? Or any lender information, whatever, mortgage information there, that's another option. Okay. And then we don't ever want to quote interest rates. I think that's important. That's not our job. We always want to refer to the lender. Okay. The lender's going to do that. But if you capture their information and say, hey, you know what? I've got a great lender that I could refer you to. Maybe you refer them to 3 or 2 so they have options and see who they connect best with, right? Then your job is to prospect, build trust and rapport, provide value, capture information, qualify leads. We talked about this. Some of those conversation starters that we had, great opportunity to connect with people, find out where they're at. What is their motivation? Where do they want to live? How will they be financing it? Do they have cash or will they need financing? Great. If they need financing, do they have a lender? If they don't have a lender, you could be that matchmaker, right? So you are that person to be able to help provide information, provide value. Build and trust rapport. Greet everyone that comes to the door. We talked about this already. Put that beautiful smile on your face. Be very warm and receptive. Don't be on your phone like this. Let me tell you, the real estate agent that I had when I bought my home before I became a realtor was always on his phone or talking to other clients while I was at a home looking at property. He was not fully present with me. And I promised myself when I got into real estate that I would not be that person. So be fully present with people because they appreciate that. Engage in conversation. Remember, using Ford, how are we going to connect with people and stay positive? I will say that sometimes it's easy to go doom and gloom with what's happening in the news, what's happening in the world. Be just present in the moment and be that light to another person, right? And we don't want to go doom and gloom. What are be a possibility thinker. I really want to work on that with you guys. Providing value. So knowing if you're on a team, knowing your team's stats or knowing market stats. If you're not on a team, guess what? Yes, you are. You've got Keller Williams, behind you. You've got the #1 real estate brokerage in Alaska behind you. So you can leverage that, know the market stats. So we talked about knowing the the market at a mega level versus micro level, macro versus micro. So macro maybe for all of the valley, micro going specifically into a neighborhood. Understand personality types. So one thing I want to touch on is with personality types, you want to mirror and match the person that's on the other side. Who are they? Are they straight and direct and to the point? Well, then be very direct with them. Do they have very strong eye contact? Soften your eyes, look at them, and just receive. Understand what it is that they need and be able to give them information without a lot of fluff. Are they very bubbly? And then, well, great. We'll be like kind of mirror that or hold that or honor how they're showing up for you. Be excited, show enthusiasm if they're showing enthusiasm. Be the mirror. Are they very family oriented? Are they steady? Are they wanting to make sure it feels good? Then ask feeling questions. Mirror and match other people. Do you have people that come in that sound like engineers and want to know all the technical stuff, like where are the property lines? And by the way, you're not showing property lines. You can offer an as-built survey. Oh, I'll get that research for you. You better know the square footage of the home before people walk in. Like know the stats, know the information, so that way you can give the information hungry person information. It's also helpful to ask the listing licensee of the home, if it's not a home that you have listed, to check with them to see if they have copies of the covenants and restrictions, covenants, codes, and restrictions. Also, like, maybe if there's a plat, or is there an as-built survey? Is there a property transfer disclosure statement? And do they have those pulled up or printed in a binder at the home? If they don't, then would it be helpful for you to maybe print those out and have them at the home, or even have it electronically to be able to reference and look it over prior to people coming over? Because some of the questions that I get are like, am I allowed to have chickens in this neighborhood? Well, I'm not going to interpret the covenants and restrictions, but I can certainly send them a copy and say, you know what? There's a section here about animals. I'd love to be able to send this to you. What is your contact information? And email it to them. You're not going to interpret it, even though it says, oh, you can have up to da 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 da. Say, well, this is what I see. Let me send it to you so you can review it, right? And then have something to offer to the visitors, something of value. I think that's one of the biggest things that I want you to walk away with is like, what is the value that you're putting out there to the world? What value are you offering? And sometimes it could be some information, some tips and tricks, tips on, the buying process or the selling process, like items of value. Maybe you have total market overview. Think about all the different personalities that may be coming by. Some people might not want the numbers, but maybe some people will want like little giveaway things with your logo on it or whatever. Like just think of items of value and who is your audience. Capture information, qualify leads. Have a sign-in sheet. You can use command to do electronic sign-in. Use the KW app. That's a good way to like connect or offer the app to people. Hey, what's your number? I'd love to text you my app, and it has my contact info. Ask questions. Remember we talked about, and this is like the mantra I keep like shouting at you guys, like stay curious and ask questions. Stay curious, ask questions. You have an objection that comes in, stay curious, and then ask questions. Remember, you're there to get leads and appointments. That's your job. It's not to sell the house. Your job is to get leads, which then lead to appointments. Pursue. At step number 3, we're going to follow up and convert leads after an open house. So the follow-up system is super important. Thanking them for coming to your open house, maybe with a phone call, a text, a handwritten note. Wouldn't it be nice to have their address so you can follow up with a handwritten note? We talked about updating your database so that database health score is 80% plus by getting their name, their phone number, their email address, their mailing address, maybe a birthday. Maybe that might be a bit much for an open house, but once you start to develop a relationship with them and nurture that lead into a contact, then you start to fill in those gaps, right? So you're going to update your database, follow up with all of the attendees. Don't wait and don't hold on to it because remember, we calculated like the dollar amount per person, like the potential for a lead and what that translates to into a commission, right? Reevaluate the goals that you set. Did you succeed? What changes will you make for next time? All right. All right. So at the very beginning of this class, we talked about, I'd love for you to be able to like have an aha, what changed your thought process. And then how did your thinking change? What do you feel differently about? What behaviors will be different moving forward, and what tools will you use? So any one of these, I'd love to hear from each one of you. What is your actionable step moving forward? And I'm going to turn it over to Bill. We'll start with Zoom. Kelsey, are you in a position to be able to answer? Megan? Isaac? Jeremy? Oh, good. Isaac, go.
Uh, Probably that lead generation, like door knocking and open houses are really important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yes. For sure. Jeremy?
I really liked putting the open house sign out earlier in the week, like the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does that cut my prep time down and leave more time for door knocking, but people in the neighborhood are very curious all the time. So
Yes,
definitely
they
get
are.
more people through the door.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you for sharing. How about you, Jacob? Yeah, no worries, Kelsey. I know that you were busy. I just tend, and I know Jacob's probably busy too.
Uh, I was gonna say the sign-in sheet. I didn't think about that. A couple house showings when I bought my property or open houses I went to didn't have that, so I thought that was a good tactic.
Absolutely, yes. Yes. And we'll continue to refine this and make sure that you have all of the tools. Super. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let me do this. Let me change my view. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Bill. Bill,
Okay.
welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Bill Urey. This is my 8th year as a realtor and my 42nd year in Alaska in marketing. And so my background is I've got a degree in business from Northern Arizona University, and I've got an associate's degree in interior design. And I spent the first 35 years of my career working with architects and designers all throughout the state of Alaska. And they were buying office furniture, but I was doing the cubicles, the high density filing systems, everything that a commercial business would have, a large business. So I handled companies like Shell Oil, National Bank of Alaska, Joint Base Elmendorf Richardson, Providence, Alaska Medical Center, big entities. And so anyway, it was real fun. And I decided I wanted to have a change in my career. And my wife had the idea, Bill, you should become a realtor. You've got the background in design, floor plans, you've got, marketing. I thought, what a great idea. So I took Denny's class, got my license, and Shortly after that, I joined a large team by the name of, I went to work for my partner's Barb Huntley. And Barb, some of you may know Barb, but she's in the top 100 realtors in the US. I think we're rated number 17 right now. We've only got about 8 people on our team and we're rated 17. So I mean, if you divide it up, how much we sell by the number of people we have, I bet you we'd be number one.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of neat. But why I like doing open houses, and Barb has always said, Bill, your superpower is doing open houses. You get more business from open houses than anyone I've ever met. And the way I learned it is the way you learned it, Sharon, is I went back to family reunion 2 years in a row. And I took every class and every panel on doing open houses that I could go to. I thought, boy, if I'm going to do them, I want to learn how to do them from the best in the country. And then I adapted. And again, you're learning tricks here today, but what you want to remember, you want to do it your way. Just the way that one of us does it is not necessarily going to be successful for someone else. But to get you an idea, for me to get where I'm at now, I did open houses 3 weekends a month. I would do them every Saturday, Sunday for my first 5 years. And that's a lot of open houses. So you don't start out being that fluid in what you say. You got to work at it. You got to practice it. And the best way to do it is to role play with each other. Now, my very secret thing that I love to do is when someone comes in the house, I'll introduce myself, they'll introduce themselves, and I'd say, okay, which one of you is looking to buy a house? And because you want to know who to kind of direct your attention to. Oh, well, we're neighbors. We just bought. We just wanted to see what this house looks like. Well, great. Come on, look around. And before they leave, I'll give them my card and I'll say, oh, by the way, why don't you take my resume too? And if you know anyone that's looking for a really good realtor, please have them reach out to me. You never know. These things develop into business. They really do, because you think how many people you talk to in a month's time, in 3 months' time. So here's an example. I did an open house 2 weekends ago. And I did it, now, what I prefer to do is I prefer to do open houses at new construction. And again, that's what I specialize in. Not everyone will go to an open house that's an existing house in a neighborhood. Not everyone's looking for a little ranch house. Everyone's looking for something different. And most people that come into that open house, 99.9% of them are not going to buy the house that you're in. But occasionally they do. And what you want to do is you want to be sure that when they leave, that you know who they are, but you don't want to ask for their information until you've developed rapport with them. So you don't ask for them to sign in right away. Some people do, and that works. I have a sign-in sheet there with a pen right there. And I always say at some point in the conversation, oh, by the way, the builder would really like to know who comes into their open house. Would you mind just signing in? I just need a name, cell phone number, and email address. And that would really help. And they'll do it. They'll do it. They do it every time. Now, here's the most important thing I think you can learn about open houses. 60% of communication is nonverbal. So you can read people much better, eye to eyeball, face to face. Now, you get that by door knocking, and you get that by doing an open house. You don't get that doing a phone. And so that's why it takes so many more phone calls. And I follow up with the people I meet in open houses and people I know that are going to buy that I keep track of at some point in the year or next year. But I drive all my business from open houses or repeat business. And for example, 2 weeks ago, I did an open house. I did it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, new construction, had only 2 people come through. But out of those 2 people, one of them was looking for a builder to build a house on 10 acres of land they have in Houston in 10 years. Okay, that's not a high priority. The other one recognized me from an open house I had done 2 years earlier, hired me on the spot to represent them as their buyer's realtor.
Wow.
Then it gets better. Then they told me that they had seen a house out at the ranch, which is a new housing development out here in Wasilla Palmer that is right off of Trunk Road South, kind of very close to Matsu Regional Hospital, except on the other side of the freeway. A lot of new construction going in there. And they said, we saw a house, but it says expired on the listing. And we'd love to see the house. So I went, and now here's how you find out where to find out who lives in a house or some information about it. Is you go into the multiple listing service, and then you go into a program called Remind. Now, Remind will also tell you if someone is on the do not call list. That's the way I tell if before I call someone if they're on the do not call list. If they're on that, you cannot text them or you cannot phone them, but you can email them. And you can knock on their door. That is legal. So what I did is I found a couple email addresses. I mailed them. I wrote a letter of introduction. I said that and this is the truth, I had sold 6 other homes on that same block that were all new construction. And I said, I know the ranch really well. It is what I call my farm. I do a lot of business there. So therefore, I would like an opportunity to sit down and talk with you. I have someone interested in buying your house. So that same day, I drove out, knocked on the door. The woman invited me in. We had a conversation. The next day, we went, that was earlier last week. We went and looked at the house. She handed me all the paperwork that she had from her previous realtor. And I said, would you like to sign a contract? I had all the paperwork in my briefcase, pulled it out. We signed the contract right there. So I picked up a buyer and a listing out of one open house.
Wow.
Last weekend, now who out there would like to do that?
Tell me, you guys should all be raising your hands like me.
Anyway, it's out there, but you just need to do it and you need to practice. Now, here's my advice to anyone starting out. You can work in your house, you can work in a dealership, a better place to work. Do 3 open houses a week, or as much as your family will allow or make sense with your personal situation. Sundays are generally the best day to hold an open house. This time of year, 1 to 4 is the best time to hold an open house. Never hold an open house on a Monday or a Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the best days to do it. If you can do an open house that's tied around the schedule of a nearby elementary school or middle school or high school, you're going to see a lot more traffic. And again, unless it's my own listing, I strictly do open houses at new construction. Last weekend, I had 8 people come through my open house, and I just did Saturday, Sunday, because the weekend before, I had nobody through on a Saturday. Or on a Friday, I'm sorry. Nobody threw on a Friday. So I thought, I'm not going to do Friday. I'm just going to do Saturday, Sunday. And I had a lot of traffic. I left that open house. During the open house, one of the couples said, we are going to interview 2 realtors tomorrow to help us find a house. We want to buy a house in the next 2 weeks. I let them interview me on the spot at the open house. And I'll find out today if I got it or not.
Yay.
Yeah.
Good.
So, but again, I had my resume there. The other thing I have is we have a book which is called a buyer's brochure. And I know Ignite has some things like that. Print out something that is designed for the buyer to see. And like our team has one, and it's a buyer's guide. So I print out the buyer's guide, and at the end of it, I staple my resume. And if anyone is remotely interested in buying, I have it in a drawer. I don't have it out there. And then I hand it to them. And then I'm sure to have their information. Like, for example, last weekend I met someone that he works in Washington, D.C., owns a house in Washington, D.C. He is a political advisor. Really interesting guy to talk to. He wants to buy a house. he had been robbed. He's scared to death. He needs security. He wants to be in a safe area. And so we exchanged information. I gave him my buying guide. He gave me his information. He said, I've got a budget of $750,000, but I don't need a really big house. I said, well, are you open to living in the valley? Well, of course, yeah. So I said, I know where you can buy a brand new house in any size you want. And there's a bunch of houses done already right now. Great views, half-acre lots. You can get about a house in the brand new house in the valley is probably $100,000 less than it would be to buy it in Anchorage or Eagle River right now. And we're looking at in Anchorage, and of course the prices in Anchorage are pretty high. This and that's really the truth. So I am following up. We're going to go meet. I said, I will send you all the listings in the ranch right now that are available to buy. And then let's go out and let's tour together. So again, another lead from that. So the business is there. It's just a matter of now, had I not of going there. So had I not been at either one of these open houses, I'd missed out on all that. That's a lot of business. And I'd rather take my time off during the week when the parks aren't so busy for camping and when the snow machine is better and not everybody's out there on the weekend. I mean, that just works better for me. One of my favorite things to say to people when they come in is, well, tell me about your ideal home. And then I shut up and I don't say a word and I just listen. Well, we're really not looking for a 2-story like this house, but we're really looking for a smaller house and we're looking to spend about $400,000. Well, if they're in a $750,000 house, that's obviously not a fit. Well, where are you interested in that house being located? Again, the secret is asking the right questions. You want to know everything about them, but you want to connect with them. You want to connect with them on an emotional level. Find out something about them. For example, one of the couples I was talking to was, well, the one that I got the listing for, turned out they were a Rotarian. I'm a Rotarian. I've been in Rotary for 25 years. We had a lot in common already. She trusts me immediately. I'm a past president of Rotary. They trust that. I find out later in the conversation that she has an elderly mother that's 98 years old. And that elderly mother is in the same retirement facility that my mother-in-law, who is 90, is in, and their neighbors are only 3 doors apart. Now, don't tell me that didn't cement the relationship right there. I mean, instant trust. So the secret is you want to connect with these people, find out something you have in common, and talk about that. Make it fun. Make it fun. Don't have commission breath. It's not about making a sale. It's about you want to do consultative selling without being pushy. Now, some people are pushy and that's their personality. That's not mine. I learned years ago, consultative selling, give them the facts. I always have the total market report there. And I said, okay, if you're interested in a house under 750, this is what's going on in the valley. This is what's going on in Anchorage. Let me show you how to read this. Let me circle this. This is how many homes are available for you to look. If you're going to buy, you're going to be super serious. You got to be pre-qualified. And you got to be ready to go fast because these houses, we're in a seller's market, and I explain what a seller's market is. I don't go through the whole buyer's book with them, but I say, read this book cover to cover, and then let's sit down and talk. And then I'll go through it with them, and we'll hit some of the high points. I also have a seller's book that our team put together. And in the back of that, I have my resume. I also have a sheet that says what we charge for commission based on what level of service they want. And I have that first, then my resume last. So anytime I'm sending this book out, all my information's in there. Of course, I'll hand them a business card as well. Safety is really big in an open house. And so I think the best thing that's out there is, for many years, I carried a really small pistol. It's tiny. I brought it along. It's unloaded, but it is just tiny. It has 6 shots. It would protect you. And it's It doesn't have a clip in it. But anyway, this is small enough to fit in a pocket. I keep it in my briefcase. It just is something that you can have should ever anything ever really get out of control. And it's really highly unusual that that can happen. Lately, what I do now is have you ever seen that gun, the banana ad that they do on TV? You know, I've got my banana that protects me. Well, this is it right here. Now, this thing shoots pellets, and these are tear gas pellets. This will incapacitate someone for about 45 minutes. And it looks like a regular pistol. It's non-lethal. You'll never kill anyone with this, but if things really got ugly, and it's highly unlikely they will, you have this, you're not going to kill someone. Nobody wants to have to go to court if you shot someone. You want to be protected, and so that works. Third thing I have is I have a flashlight. And you need a flashlight at an open house sometimes, you know. But this one also is a taser. And all you really need is this. This is set up that it's got the little prongs on it that you could jam into someone, you could tase them. You know, men, I think, are safer in open houses than women are by a great degree. But I would typically just have this in my briefcase, and I just have it nearby in case it was ever needed. I've never needed it. I've only had one time I was scared at an open house when I went to one to meet someone. The front door was broken in. There was no lights in the house. And it was weird. It was scary. I just didn't even go in. I just, you know, that's it gives you the little feeling you have in the back of your neck, your hair's raised, and you just say,
If
boy,
you've watched any horror movies and you're like, don't go inside, don't go inside.
that's exactly right. Something else I do is, you know, there's different types of signage that you can use. These are different things I've used over the years. This is the first one I ever have that Keller Williams put together for me. Just had my name, my cell phone number, a direction, and the sign that says open house. Printed on both sides. This is what I use now. And I like this because this you can stick in a snowbank in the wintertime, and it is super, super quick. You just stick it in the snowbank and you're on to the next sign. Now, the way you attach two signs together is, these are something that you can buy through City Sign. And this is what they look like right here. And what they are is they're a pin. And so they stick into the little corrugated ends of the sign. You put two of them in, and then you can stack these signs 2, 3, or 4 high. And this little bend in it stops it part way. Then all you do is slide it in, and now you can attach it to this type of sign, or you can do like I did here, and you can put this into your A-frame, and you can stack this 2 or 3 high. Now, the problem you have is the higher you go, the more wind it catches. And if it's a windy day, it'll blow your sign over. Most realtors do not put enough weights on their signs where they blow over, and nobody can see where to go because their signs have blown over. So what I do is I create sandbags that look like this. What I do is I take a plastic trash bag, and I put in about 15 pounds of sand or gravel. Then I wrap it with Gorilla Tape, and then I get some webbing at REI, and I create a handle with it so I can carry it in one hand. And I generally, when it's really windy, I'll put 4 of these on an A-frame, and that will keep it from blowing anywhere. And if it's really windy, like it is at the ranch, sometimes I'll put 6 or 8 down because they have to know where to go. And if it's windy, everyone else's are blown over. Mine are always up. I can keep signs up blowing Well, a couple weeks ago, 60 miles an hour in Eagle River, and my signs were standing.
Wow.
Now, the other key you want to do with signs is you want to go from the most popular direction. So for example, when I was doing new construction in Eagle River, where I got the lead from on the new listing, I took and had signs right on, open house signs right on the freeway, passing through Eagle River, heading out to Wasilla. And so I'm pulling them right off the freeway. And I will put multiple signs out. Now, anything you can put on a header to pull them in, new construction is one of them. The other is this particular builder is offering 0 down, 0 at closing, and basically you can get into the property if you're vet free. All you gotta do is pre-qualify for the purchase. There's a lot of people that would like that. So if you have a sign sitting out there on your open house sign saying 000 or ask me about 000, that's going to get people's minds going, you know, and so that works pretty good. The other thing I do is I have a standing signpost, and I've got a 16-foot flag that inserts to here, and then a nylon flag that attaches to that. And I've got 4 of these. So I can take and direct, people can see my sign if I'm in a place with a lot of other realtors, they'll see my signs. Nobody else has these. Very few have these. And you see these a long way off.
Take note.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and so these made it cost me about $500, maybe 125 a sign roughly at the time. And
Where did you order them from, Bill?
you know, I can get back to you on that. You know,
But basically, they're the standing
yeah,
flag
and
type.
it blows in the wind,
Mhm,
and you
that
gotta
says
put a
open
lot of
house.
weight on that base, or the wind will blow it over.
Sure.
But that works really, really well. And so if I have multiple open houses, sometimes I've had as many as doing 3 open houses at one time for new
Mhm.
construction. I'll have one of these at each house and say, okay, you see the houses with the flags? Those are our open houses.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so that works good. Something else you can do is you can buy these types of headers and you can hand write the address of the house on it. And then you don't have to have it printed. Less expensive way as you're starting out. And again,
Yeah.
put it on both sides. You can see it from both directions.
And I want to like highlight that real quick. Did you hear that he said he bought this and put the address of the house that he's hosting? Like, who does that?
These are $3 a piece. They're nothing. They're nothing. You can throw them away when you're done. So that works out really good. You know, the other thing I do I think I'm the only realtor that does this. This is a listing I have right now. This is 3 3/4 acres on a peninsula on Memory Lake. And so I have this on all of my open house signs and on all my for sale signs. So it tells them exactly where to go, how many acres, how many square feet residential, but 1,830 feet of shoreline. I get more sign calls from this sign.
Yeah.
You know, normally you don't sell lakefront property this time of year. I've got 2 people looking at this property in the next 2 weeks. Nobody sells property like that this time of year. Again, it's the signage that does it. And I've got 20 signs up around this house that I keep up all the time for sale signs. And signs directing them how to get there, you know, from the closest location.
And like these arrows, guys, and stuff like this, like where it says waterfront, you can check the MLS office. They sell signs, city signs can help prepare stuff like that. Service signs can help print some stuff out.
Now, the other thing I find is yellow really attracts people. Yellow and black, that is just really good. Now, this is something Rex Turner put together one time, a new home tour at Viewpoint at the ranch. And what I did is I had my own one done. I put my name in here. And again, Saturday, Sunday, 1 to 4. I will put these on the freeway and I will put two of these on the freeway, pulling people in off the Parks Highway,
Mhm.
and I will direct them all the way to the open house I have. And I'll set them Friday night, and I'll take them down Sunday night. I've never lost, I take that back. Occasionally, the state of Alaska will take signs if you leave them out on a freeway. It's illegal to do it. But I don't have them on the freeway. I don't have them where they plow on the side of the freeway. I have them in the snow, so it's not affecting their plowing. But if those trucks come through and they're plowing, they're not going to stop for your signs.
Mhm.
They're going to take them out. Occasionally, they're going to take them. The only time they took them, I got them back. Now, the one area to watch out, Wasilla will take your signs. They will take your
Downtown, like
signs
in city
in
limits.
city limits. So I don't have that trouble in Anchorage. I don't have that trouble in Eagle River, but Wasilla is terrible. They have one guy that patrols. If he sees them, he'll take them. He'll charge you money to get them back. Second time it happens, you don't get them back.
Mhm.
So it's just, you can have quite a bit invested in these signs.
Mhm.
There's two types of A-frames you can get. I buy mine at City Sign. One has a flat bottom, the other one has prongs, and the horizontal piece sits up about 5 inches. They work really good in the winter to shove and to put into the snow and ice. So I use the prong style in the wintertime, and I use the flat bottom ones in the summertime.
Mhm.
And you can use the flat bottom if the snow is, when it was powdery like it was, that worked really good. But when it's really hard packed, the prong style works the best. Another thing you can do is you can, if you have your A-frame, what I do is I get metal bars like this in like an Ace Hardware, and you can see there's some duct tape attached. If you put this at the top of the A-frame where the little turn piece is that you tighten, this will protect your sign from wanting to break in half
Mhm.
in the wind. And so you can see now I'm supporting it about a foot wide. So I use one of these in every one of the signs. So if I put this into the sign, I'm going to have this, whatever way the wind is blowing, I'm going to have it on the back side. So if the wind's blowing this way, I'm going to have this piece on the back of it, and I tighten it down. And very small chance it's going to break that way, and it
Mhm.
protects it a lot better. Now, the last thing regarding signage is, you see this little A-frame piece here. If I were to take this out right now, what you can also do is, if this was my sign that was sitting inside of an A-frame, I can put it in, I can pull this out and put this right-sided, but I can have this coming up, and then all of my other headers, this is in real bad wind, I can put like this
Mhm.
and like this, and now structurally they're protected. And so this works really good if you're in really high winds, because as it pushes it this way, it works for all of this. And so that works especially well. And I wish I wish you're all in the room and I could demonstrate that better. But play around with that. That works really well. Um, I carry a big bag of zip ties, heavy duty. These zip ties will also allow you to attach a sign maybe like this to any of the highway signs. So if there's a highway sign or just a sign that's orange or something, zip tie it, especially if it's windy, it won't go anywhere.
Mhm.
It won't go anywhere. And it's hard for people to take them too.
Mhm.
So that works really good. The other thing is, you want to know everything about every house that is nearby where the open house is. For example, when I do this new open house at the ranch that'll be coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend, um, I will take and have, I do just like you said, Sharon, I'll take and have, set all my signs up ahead of time, do a lot of advertising. But what I do is I advertise and I co-advertise with a lender. So find a lender you really like and ask them to put together something called a list report. Now, a list report will talk about what Sharon was mentioning. It'll tell you what are the nearby, how many restaurants are nearby, where's a close by hardware store, what schools are nearby this particular area. And a good lender will prepare your flyer and will prepare information on interest rates. So you're both working together. And so I do a lot of co-advertising, and my lender will take and put together all of my flyers. So I don't have to do any flyers. And she does a beautiful job.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Great.
saves you some time on that. But again, ask questions at the open house. What I also do is if someone says, well, I'm looking for a ranch home, at an open house, well, okay. Do you know that there are 6 ranch homes in this subdivision right now that are all available for sale? Here's the flyers on them right here.
Mhm.
And then again, I'll hand them the flyer, and ask for an opportunity to go look at them right then at the open house. Well,
Mhm.
would you like to, if you're really looking for this, let's go look at it. Let's go look at this house. Let's go look at that house. Well, what's your price range? Well, I'm looking for something on around 500,000. Well, there's 3 houses right now that are 2-2-2 houses that are 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage on a half-acre lot. That's right in your price range. You want to go look at them?
Will you leave the open house?
I will leave the open house.
Wow.
I'll lock it up and I'll go over there and I'll leave a sign on the door that I got pre-printed. We are looking at another open house right now. If you want to get in, please call me at this number.
Wow.
We're in the subdivision, but
That's a pro tip, guys. Pro tip.
Because sometimes when I'm doing 3 open houses, I've handled as many as 3 builders at one time. You can't be all places at one time.
Mhm.
But you don't need to be, but it's just about communicating, letting them know where you are. Hey, I'm here. I'm 2 minutes away. If you want to see the house, we're looking at another one. Give me a call and I'll be right over.
Perfect.
That works really good. But ask lots of questions. Lots of questions. So what does your favorite home look like? Let me ask you another question. Okay, you like a 3-bedroom house. Well, tell me more. How many garages would you want it to have? Do you have an RV you need to store? Um, what's more important with you, to have that 4th bedroom or to have a larger garage? You just keep diving down until you pretty much know what they're really looking for. Then, because this is your one opportunity to talk to them, if you do not get their attention, then they're bye-bye, so you have to make an impression and make it super fun for them. Make it really, really fun. And the other thing, I always bring a big basket of chocolates, candies. Everybody likes chocolate. And I also bring toys for the kids. So I bring squish balls that they can play with, and or like the potato chip bags, the little closures for those. But if a kid comes in and says, hey, would you like a ball to play with? Of course, the kid's eyes brighten up. Parents love you at that point. I mean, it's just about being yourself and being real. Don't try to be someone other than who you are. Let your personality come through and just kind of find out who you are when you talk to them about, what you're doing. And open houses are a lot of fun. I hear so many people say, I hate doing open houses. Well, of course you're going to hate doing them because you're saying that you hate doing them. You need to go through that mantra. There is a lot of business in open houses. I am going to close a lot of business on open houses this year. And that's my number one strategy. And I just do it over and over and over. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. Sharon gave you a lot of great questions to ask. Practice and role play with each other over the phone. It's a great way to do it. And just do it and try to stump each other with questions. And after you've figured your way through one question, the next time it comes, you know right where to go. You do that after 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you get to the point where it's just fluid. It's just fluid. But you don't start out that way. You just don't start out that way. And I walk through the house with people. And if there's more than one person, then you want to treat it like triage. So for example, when we do the fall parade of homes, I might have 100 people coming through an open house in a day's time. Or let's say it's more like 70 and 70 maybe. You maybe get 140 over 2 days. You have to treat it now like you're a doctor, you're a triage, you're on a battlefield. You come up to someone, oh, are you looking to buy a house today? Oh no, we're just looking. Can you get us a sticker? Well, here, go over and talk to Nancy. She'll give her the sticker, or the sticker's right on the table there. Thank you very much for coming today. And then you go to the next person, go to the next person, you go to the next person, and then you find out, and the one that is really seriously looking, then you spend your time with that person. But you want to, not everyone's going to create business. You wish you could spend a lot of time with all of them, but you can't. But out of every open house, you should pick up a couple of leads. And not every weekend is going to have people. So don't get discouraged if nobody shows up. That's just the weather. You know, if it's really high winds, snowing, probably not going to see many people at your open house. But on the other hand, if you don't show up, you're not going to get anything. So you got to kind of pick and choose. You know, when we had that ice storm and all that, high winds, forget it. Nobody comes to those. You know, I don't recommend doing an open house on Super Bowl weekend. You know, I don't think that's going to be particularly productive either. Although I've tried it one year and we did have a lot of women coming through. You know, so it kind of varies, but the Valley is much more active than Anchorage is, and I think there are more people buying out in the Valley. So I think if you do open houses, keep mentally open, get to know the builders, ask to help them with their open houses, or ask other realtors that have lots of listings if you can host one of their open houses. They'll let you advertise it and put your name on the flyer. You just have to acknowledge, you know, who the builder is and some of the details they have about what they're doing. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Anybody on Zoom?
No questions, but a lot of good information. Thank you.
Great.
Now, I will put this out. Anyone that's taken this class that would like to shadow me at an open house is welcome to shadow me. And if you reach out to Sharon, she can get you my information. Give me a call directly. I'll let you know the next open house I'm doing, and you're welcome to shadow me. And I've had a lot of new realtors shadow me, and I think everyone has said it's been worthwhile to do. And the best way to learn is by just watching someone that has been doing something a long time that you want to get better at. You'll find most realtors at Keller Williams are very open to helping, you know, because we all started out not knowing a thing and we had to learn it from ground up. And I remember the people that helped me most. And I tell you, you create a real bond with those individuals by helping them. That is some of the tricks of doing an open house, but just do them often. Advertise them really well. And if you're advertising them, if your team is advertising them, if you're on a team, and if the lender is advertising them, you've got a lot more eyeballs out there on what's going on. Again, let your database know about the open houses. And you never know when one of them is just ready to make a change. We've seen some huge changes in interest rates here in the last couple of days. And their interest rates dropped almost a point last week for like a very short time. Then boom, they're right back up high again. Or not high, but kind of back. But they're under 6%. And I think President Trump is doing some things right now with buying $2 billion worth of bonds that is going to push interest rates even further before the Fed even does anything. So it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a really good year. There's a lot of business to be taken, and we just finished a tough year. And but you know what they say, when you have a tough year, it's a great opportunity to get market share. Because a lot of people say, well, I'll just wait till things are better. I'll wait till things are easy. We're all better than being order takers. You know, the secret is to learn your skill, learn it well. And if you're going to be really successful, you want to be one of the 20% in the business. If you're one of the 80%, someone else is going to be writing the majority of the business. You got to work your way to the top. And, but just find out what your superpower is. Maybe it's open houses, maybe it's door knocking. They all work. The problem is most people just try too many things. They try this, they try this, they try this. Try something, do it for a long time and master it.
Mhm.
And that's my advice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much,
You're
Bill.
welcome.
This was very, very informative. Do you guys on Zoom have any questions for Bill? No? You guys are all
How
good?
many of you have done open houses so far? Or tried doing an open house? Any of
I
you?
usually do open houses on the weekends. Um, and I work a lot with new construction as well.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
yeah.
He's been pretty consistent. Megan, how about you? Oh, you have too? Great. Wonderful. I hope you guys can take some of Bill's tips and some of the things that you learned. I'm happy to share some of the resources that I have so you guys can certainly use that moving forward if you don't have it. But I really want to just thank Bill so much for taking the time out of your day and driving all the way out from Anchorage to the Valley for us.
I had to be out here today anyway, so it
Oh,
worked out really well for me too.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we really appreciate that lots and certainly take Bill up on his offer if you would like to shadow and just kind of watch him in action. He's pretty magical. You forgot to tell us about the magic finger.
Oh, I did.
Okay, he's going to tell you about
Yeah.
the magic finger.
This, one of the things that's, a lot of times you'll see people driving around, but they won't stop and come into your open house. So what I like to do is I like to say, I like to give people the finger when they come through my open house. And what I do is I just will look at them and I'll come to the door and I'll just say, hey, come here, come here. And I'll just say, do you want to learn a little bit more about this subdivision? I'm a consultative person. It's going to be worth your time. And then they'll come in and talk. But don't be afraid to walk out and walk right up to their car. Hey, I'm doing an open house here. I know the subdivision really well. What are you looking for?
Mhm.
Get them talking, don't wait for them to come in. Go out and meet them. In the summertime, I'll open the garage door and I'll set up in the outside or even in the driveway so I can see people and they can see me and it's really easy for them to come up. If there's gonna be a lot of traffic, I'll cook brats and I'll cook a little food. People stay longer if you have food.
Mhm.
For like special events and things like that. Have water bottles there in the fridge. Everybody gets thirsty. Have a water bottle there. Have your name on the water bottle. Put a little thing around it. Just have. I keep a lot of literature. You don't want to cover up the island when they come in there. And I always recommend also having something like this. This is something I have my resume on, and this is just a very thin little piece. But I'll have my resume here, and then I'll take and I'll lay out my resume below there so anyone that comes through can take it. And then that's got all the information. And then when I'm at the open house, I never lay the literature down, but I have probably 10 of these, and I'll have other properties in the neighborhood on this.
Mhm.
And I always bring my own listings to the open house saying, hey, just in case you're looking for a $1.1 million house, I have one on Memory Lane.
Mhm.
You never know. You just never know. Maybe they know someone that's been looking for a lake property.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's lovely. And for someone who's brand new, I know you're using like a resume. Can you tell us a little bit about your resume? Like
Yeah.
what are some key points that you've included in it? Because this week we talked about our value proposition and
Yes.
I talked to them about like, what's your superpower? What are the aspects or qualities that you've used from like previous work experience, etc. And how do you apply that to real estate? So can you tell us a little bit about how you
Yeah, in
formulated yours?
fact, what I'll do, I'll give Sharon a copy of my resume and then you can send it out to everybody in the group.
Sure.
And then they can see just how I did mine. But I start out saying, first I have my name. I'm with Keller Williams. I have my email address and then my web address. Then I have our business address. And then I go into a paragraph saying that I'm a new construction specialist, that I've been, and I have who the builder is that I represent. I let them know that I'm a reverse commuter that lives in Anchorage in the Sand Lake area near the Campbell Creek Wild Bird Sanctuary. And my mix is, and I give everyone my mix of sellers and buyers. I let people know how many years I've been a realtor, how many years I've lived in Anchorage and have been in marketing. I give my education, because everybody can talk about their education. I have who I'm married to. My wife is a school teacher, knows a million people. And so a lot of times if they see her name, and I have her maiden name in there as well, I say something that I've been married 42 years. I moved to Anchorage from Flagstaff, Arizona in 1982. I talk about my first career. Then I get into that, but you want to tell them something about you as a person, interest, raising 3 dogs, RV camping, snow machining, retired mountaineer who summited Mount McKinley, a retired downhill skate and diagonal skier, commercial fisherman. And then I'm a past president and current foundation fundraising chair and board member at Anchorage East Rotary Club. Joined Rotary in 1995 and love giving back to Alaskans in our world community. Raised in Mankato, Minnesota. And that's it.
So here I shared it with you guys. You should be able to see it on Zoom. I'll forward this to you as well. And if you guys have any questions, now's the time. If not, I'd love to just say thank you, Bill.
Then you can also take your resume and run it through Chat GPT, and you can have it any kind of tone you want it to have, and it will rewrite it multiple ways, which is really fun.
Really cool.
Really, really fun. And I encourage you to do that. And you can say, hey, I like it to be a little more fun, a little more friendly, less businesslike, and then it will rewrite the whole thing. Put new words in there you never use yourself, and it really makes it look even better.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And what a great way to be able to connect with people, for them to know what your interests are. What are your superpowers? We talked about our value proposition. So putting your value proposition there, using some of the skills that you've gathered from life and being able to do that. So
And don't be afraid to tell someone that you're a new realtor, and look at the advantage of that and say, I'm a relatively new realtor, but I've got a really strong group of people supporting me, and I have time to do a better job than anyone else is going to be able to do for you, because I've got the time to help find that house that you're looking for, and I'm going to give you all my attention. Just whatever it is, there's an opposite side you can look at it to find out your strengths and to help present who you are, no matter where you are in your career at Keller Williams.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very
welcome.
much. We
Well-
really, really appreciate the knowledge and your wisdom and the tips.
Yeah, come to an open house. I'm doing them just about every weekend. I'm waiting to see. I normally schedule my open houses on a Monday, but this weekend I think I'll be showing houses all weekend to the couple that I think will be writing an offer this weekend from the lead I got 2 weeks ago.
Excellent.
But I tell you, it's amazing. And as Barb Huntley tells me, you cannot put out too many signs.
Mhm.
I put out as many as 30 signs, and it can take an hour and a half. But again, it's what you do before the open house that makes your open house successful. For new construction, it doesn't do much good to knock on doors, because everybody has just moved into a new house.
Mhm.
So you won't be doing so much the door knocking.
Mhm.
But you can ask everyone the question, well, who do you know do you have any friends that are looking for houses right now?
Mhm.
Ask everybody that question. Have a business card with you all the time. Also have a name plaque made with your name and Keller Williams, and wear that everywhere you go. Have it on the outside of your coat. It's amazing that people ask you, hey, what's the market like right now? You're into a conversation. It might be in the grocery store. I've picked up business from my doctor, I'm selling a house, a duplex this summer for our house cleaners, just by having the conversation and just by having that little name tag all the time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I'm going to pause our recording. Let's stop our recording now.